This episode is brought to you by Art House, the first Black-owned film lab in the city of Los Angeles. Now, I love Art House Film Lab. I've been using Art House for over a year, and the quality of their scans are absolutely phenomenal. They specialize in C41, black and white, E6, and ECN2 processing for both 35 millimeter and medium format film. And the coolest part is they use a custom-built cinema scanner to deliver stunning movie quality stills. So join them for their grand opening on February 22nd and follow Art House Film Lab on Instagram or visit www.arthousefilmlab.com for more details. And you know I'm going to be there. So please come and support friends of the show and our first official sponsor of the pod. Okay, let's get into it. That's how we feel in every episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Photographer Life Check. I'm your host, Chrissy, and I have my lovely friend here who's an incredible commercial photographer, Kelli Scates.
Hi.
How you doing? How are you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm having a good day. I'm excited to do this. I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited for you starting this. I'm like, ooh, what we doing?
Thank you. I mean, I've just been dying to talk to you. I shared to you just a second ago that I have been thinking about this for a very long time. I wrote out your episode a year ago. I think it's so important for other women, especially other Black women, to know that being a studio owner is possible and it's very a tangible thing to do. And which is why you've been on my list for so long. I'm like, you're the only one that I know and talk to also that uses it in the way that you did. I have other friends that own studios, but they didn't rent it out to other people. It was more like a personal situation, which is perfectly fine. But it's you ran a whole business outside of also your personal photography, which collaborated with your studio, but also lived outside of your studio. So I really want to just dive into your expertise there. And so to start off at the top, your studio was named 430 Productions. Can you tell us a little bit, was that name significant for you? Or were you just I need to get a name on paper?
I needed a name on paper. I wanted to separate it from my photography work and my name because I wanted it to be a more inclusive space for other people. So I'm married to my name because it's literally my name. And then I'm like, what can it be that still sounds catchy and cute that I like? And so I was in Unit 430 and I'm like, okay, 430 Productions. And I always wanted a production studio. So to put productions on it. And I'm like, okay, let's see. This will be a step in that direction for me.
Beautiful. Okay, so can you take us to the beginning? How do you set up a studio? How do you find a studio? How does this brainchild come about?
So it's something that's been on my vision board for a while and something that I've always just wanted to do, just have a creative space. I have a versatile creative background. I don't only do photography. So just having a creative space in general is always something that I wanted to do. As far as finding the space as a photographer and creator, I'm always renting spaces. So I'm going to different studios. I'm online. I'm searching. I'm trying to figure out where to shoot, where to host and do different things. So finding the studio, I started looking at locations where I was shooting at for renting. I started looking to see who those owners were and how they do it and how are they setting up their spaces and where are they going. And thinking about what I liked about certain studios when I would rent from them and what I wish they had and what things that I would want differently. As far as parking, all the studios are downtown and there's parking. So I just started thinking of things what would I want if it were my own space? And I had happened to shoot at this location for another project. And so I called to see what their rates were. And then I'm also driving around my neighborhoods and looking at leasing signs and seeing okay, if I wanted a space here, calling and just finding out pricing first. How much is this going to cost me?
So you have to be brave. You have to get on that phone and talk to people. And that will also be better than email, right?
Yeah, because a lot of times they'll have the number, or even if they have an email, you can go on different sites and do leasing office spaces or leasing commercial office space, leasing creative spaces, and Google and see options that way too if you're not ready to make those phone calls. But usually if you request a quote, they call you.
Okay.
So you have to be kind of ready and know what you're looking for. What's your square footage that you want, and just start asking questions. Because when I would call certain places that weren't in a building like where I ended up being, and they're like a standalone building, I have more questions because I don't know. I'm thinking like, do you guys have air conditioning? How does this? What if I want to do a whole install? Like, what is that? And just telling them what I'm looking for. In a lot of places, sometimes like, oh, we don't do that. We don't have that. Or it's going to cost you an astronomical amount that I can't afford yet. Like, I'm not at that level yet, you know?
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
boom. So it's really important to like really know what you want out of a space. And I'm also wondering then, do you think it might be just based on your own expertise and while you were looking for your studio, is it more difficult or easier? Or like, what's your verdict on finding a space that maybe isn't like the warehouse kind of space where it's like other studios live here and like maybe you might be the first one to go into that kind of commercial space?
I would say going into more of a standalone, usually you have to do a build out because a lot of those spaces, well, it depends on where you're going, but some of those spaces is just a big open warehouse. So if you want it to look like something, you have to maybe do more in there. So you might have to do a lot more. When you're renting from one of those spaces where I rented from, like leasing a studio within a larger building, the basics are already there.
Okay.
And then you can just kind of put in your furniture, still add different things, still maybe build certain sets out, but you have a lot more that's already there opposed to if you're just renting out a random warehouse. You got to put walls in and just do a lot more work.
Okay.
And those spaces tend to be more expensive depending on the size.
Okay.
You might have, and it could be more plumbing things. It's a lot more things to consider versus where I am. I would just contact the owner if something's not working, like I need maintenance to come and fix this.
Okay, cool. So you want to make sure you look for spaces that you can get a relationship with project managers, or excuse me, not project managers, but property managers to fix problems as they come.
Mm-hmm.
How about like negotiating? Do you have any tips for people that are like, okay, I found the spot, it has everything on my checklist, like, and they're saying like, oh, it's $2,000 a month. Can they negotiate in a commercial space? How did you approach negotiations? Like, what does that look like?
Where I was, there wasn't any negotiating. That's what it was.
They said, don't even ask.
Every year, the price is going up. It's like renting from an apartment building almost. Like, this is what it is. Sign it or not. They check your credit to see if it's something you can afford. If I also found out, even from where I was, because someone else did it at the same time as me, their income was higher, so they were going to charge them more than they quoted me.
Oh, so kind of just like
is some negotiation if you know.
Oh, right. They don't, of course, most people don't want you to try to negotiate. They want to get the most for however they're telling you. But right, it's business. So also don't take it personally. But if you do know, potentially you can use that as leverage to be like, I'll pay this, or like,
right.
Okay, cool. So how long did you have your space?
2 years.
2 years? Oh my goodness, 430. And what was it like running your own studio? I know you were like renting it out for other people and sometimes you use it yourself. How did you manage that kind of schedule?
Girl, it was fun. It was a lot. It was fun, but it was a lot of running around and just figuring it out as I go because I don't really have a blueprint either. And I think one thing, if you want to do it, sometimes there's certain things you won't know until you're in it. You don't necessarily even know which questions to ask. So just kind of being ready to just like go with it, I think is one of the first things you have to just be ready to do, to learn as you go and be okay with not knowing or trying different things as you go. So it was fun. It was a hectic schedule. In the beginning, when I got it, I was also working.
Okay.
So I also had a job, and I opened the studio, and I'm shooting. So managing that was just not sleeping, honestly, constantly
That's
on
so
the
real.
road, constantly just like executing. Because once you
Mm-hmm.
do it, once you put your name on it, once you're like, okay, I'm agreeing to paying this for at least a year, it's like the money's coming out. So you have to,
Right.
okay, what's the plan, execution, getting what you need in it, not hesitating on telling other people. And I think learning the model of like renting the studio out, that was different too. And
Well,
looking
what
at with like bigger companies or bigger people who've been doing it for a while, and the price at which they rent their studio out, and then knowing what I need to bring in to keep it open, that model was challenging to figure out, like, how much do I charge, especially because I want, being a creator, you're not always making like big money. So sometimes I
right.
want to make sure that creators had an opportunity to afford the space to come in and create, to build their work up, because that's part of
Yeah.
it too. So it was challenging, like trying to compete with like a FD photo studio. They've been doing
Mm-hmm.
this for a long time. They have multiple locations. They have buku
Right.
equipment. They have team and staff. And so that versus trying to do it by myself, that was the challenge. And trying to figure out a team, I think would have been a big difference in being
Mm.
able to juggle all of that.
Yeah. Can I
I
ask
don't know if I'm
separately?
answering your questions. I'm just talking.
No, you're absolutely answering my question. This is perfect. Can I ask separate from photography, what do you do? Because you do everything. When I read the bio, and obviously like we're friends, and I've actually kind of interviewed you before for the
Oh,
photo
yeah.
series I did, where you got your degree in dance and African American studies, but you're also like a filmmaker. So I'm like, oh, like what do you do outside of photography?
Outside of photography, I do video, I do editing. Um, I write a lot. I don't always share that, but I write. I stay with the journal. I stay with the
Come on.
notebook. Um, and people are like, what do you write? I journal. I write stories. I write prayers. I write just random streams of content.
Yeah.
Like, so that's something else. What else do I do? I've made products with my photos. Like I made this, and
Oh yes.
I actually silk pressed it. I've learned how to do silk pressing from a friend. So when I make my shirt products and stuff, I'm heat pressing and silk pressing that. I made journals.
Wow.
I do. I just be creating. I have stuff in my mind, and it's like I just want to try it.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Did you use these things like as merch for your studio or for you, or was this just like, I just need my shirt to say I deserve, I just need my journal to look how I'm imagining it?
One, I wanted my journals to look how I imagine, because I'm always buying journals, and I'm just that dork that goes and like really takes my time to pick out
Yes.
books and pens and things like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted something of my own, and then I've always just thinking in a business mindset. If I create a product, what can I create that doesn't require me to be there? Like once I create it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, if I were to create a product, what would it look like? And what are things that I use and that I like? So that came to mind. And then during COVID, since we weren't shooting in person, that's when I took time to think, okay, how can I repurpose artwork that I already have and
Nice.
turn it into something else? And then that's when it like married.
That's fire. I've wanted to make like my own, I've been calling it like personal merch, because
Mm-hmm.
it isn't necessarily that I want it to be like Chrissy photo or anything like that, but I just have ideas similar to you where it's like, I want my journal to look this way. I want a hat with the letter Q on it. I can't find
Mm-hmm.
that. So I just want to make it.
Right.
So I feel very inspired right now. I'm like, I just need to go ahead and make my little personal merch.
Yeah. Yeah. And then even these, this isn't connected to my photos, but I love affirmations. I was heavy on affirmations for a long
Yes.
time, and they worked for me. So I'm like, what if we put them on shirts? And if I'm just walking down the street, somebody might be feeling a way. If they read my shirt, maybe it'll make them think and speak differently of themselves. So that felt like kind of like a social experiment. I was curious how wearing the affirmations would affect me, if affect other people who saw it.
Yeah. Wait, aren't you an Aquarius?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, why she sound so much like me? I feel like we had this conversation before. Wait, when's your birthday again?
February 9th.
Oh yeah, I'm the 12. Come
Yeah.
on. Yes. Okay, beautiful. So pivoting back to the studio, I'm also wondering how can people find or like figure out how to furnish the studio? It's like, okay, we negotiated, maybe we didn't, we secured the studio. Now there's like a ton of gear, and you had so much gear. You had a lot of furniture that was like absolutely beautiful, and it was a huge, huge space. How do you furnish it? Where do you look for like who has like the deals where you maybe could get something like, a couple lights for some
Mhm.
wholesale prices or something like that?
So, so lights, some of those lights, that was just over time, me investing in myself, in my
Okay.
business as a creator. So a lot of that was me. And then some of that was once you start something, people do want to support. So I did have sometimes people who would donate lights to me, or
Nice.
offer. Maybe it didn't always come through, but that has happened too as far as equipment, people wanting to support. Um, I think I think sometimes with a space that big too, collaborating with other artists and allowing them, if they're open to it, keeping their stuff there too, if they use the space however they want to use it and things like that is another way that could be helpful. If
Yeah.
you want to, let's say like me and you, we both are like, okay, I want a studio, let's do it together. I think that's another way to help the part of mitigating getting furniture, getting extra equipment, like combining your resources with somebody else.
Yeah.
As far as like furniture and deals and finding all that, girl, running all over LA trying to find like the mom and pop type furniture stores that might have like that. My favorite couch in there, the navy couch, like just
Oh, I love that
literally
couch.
drove to every furniture store. I would just be driving, maybe just going to, I don't know, just in a different part of the city than I normally am, doing something completely different. But I'll see like a random furniture store. I'm like, I'm
Mm.
stopping and I'm going in.
Okay.
I'm just gonna see and doing that like for until I found it a good price for something that I really want. You can
Okay.
also do like Facebook Marketplace and different places. Sometimes people are just selling furniture, just driving. Some stuff I'll be driving and I'll see something on the side of the road, like a yard sale or something. And then I had a friend who like is real artsy, so like I'll buy something random and then I'll show her. She'll be like, I'll paint it for you. So
Oh,
just
yes.
and coming up with stuff. Yeah, it's so
Okay,
many ways.
cool.
I don't think there's one way to do it,
Yeah.
but you can't. You gotta like think outside the box, and you gotta kind of hustle and get out there and figure it out.
It also kind of sounds like you were gaining things as you already had your studio. Like you didn't open it and already have everything.
No, that and
Okay.
some stuff I would bring from my house because I'm a
Nice.
creative, so I already have like cutesy stuff. So like those white cubes, I already had those.
Okay.
They were in my garage. I had them even when I lived with my parents. You know where I got those from? That's
Mm.
another good thing. American Apparel used to have stores,
Oh,
like
yes.
stores, and then they
Oh
closed.
my God. You came up off the closing sale?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just went there and they were selling when they do like those huge sellers, like let's say like a JC Penney closes and they're like, hey, we have deals on different things. They have like those types of cubes, they have clothing reels, they have different stuff like that. So those cubes are like $10. So I like stuffed them in
Wow.
at that time. That was like 2017. I got those. I was still living with my parents. I'm like, hey, can I put this in the garage? They're like, no, if you want to keep those, fit me in your bedroom. And I did. Cause I'm like,
Period.
it's gonna come in handy. Like these were
Like little do y'all know.
they didn't get it. They like, girl, you doing the most. I'm like, I am, because I know at some point I'm gonna put these to use, even if it doesn't make sense to you.
Yeah. I love that. That's also a really good reminder. And it's so funny that you say JCPenney because I was just talking about how JCPenney done went out of business about every year since like 2003 and they still going. So when your local JCPenney go out of business, get you some clothing reels or something.
Mhm.
Okay, beautiful. So I also want to talk a little bit about your transition with the studio. You had it for 2 years and then you closed its doors. Um, can you share like your decision in closing, what that was like for you, the transition, and kind of like maybe where you feel like you are right now?
Ooh, okay. Okay, girl, here we go.
Gently.
Like I was telling you before, I haven't talked about the closure of the studio.
Yeah.
It was very emotional for me because I really loved it. That was like so far that chapter, that 2 year chapter. Ooh, my favorite, one of my favorites.
Yes.
It was so fun and so fulfilling and such a like, um, just a season of me living in an answered prayer.
Mm.
So love it down, favorite. So letting it go was hard, but it also was just time because I started it kind of pretty much in the pandemic. So like getting people to come to a
Right.
physical space, what did I open? 2021, 2022.
Which is we fresh out. And I
22.
mean, it
So it's
still was
definitely
rough,
with math
2022.
and things, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but everybody's still in a very creative space at that time too. A lot of people wanting to create and collaborate and express
Absolutely.
themselves. Um, so it did well, and I feel like I had like some really great people come through the space and create, and just uh people who really just supported and things just lining up that I couldn't have even mapped myself. Where it's like, okay, God is really in this. This is
Yeah.
something I'm supposed to do. And feeling really proud of what I did, but still letting it go, it's like closing. Oh, that was the other thing okay, so we had COVID, and then after that, we had the writer strike.
Yes. One of the slowest years of my life.
Slow.
Oh my God.
Word for every creator,
For everybody.
everybody. So I honestly feel like had that year not hit how it did, and for so long, I might have been able to push at least another year. And I think I would have saw like the vision really bloom how I imagined it, and it would have been, people in and out, because as soon as the writer strike was over, which was towards the end of that year,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was ready to book. But
Yeah.
it was a
Stuff started
really
moving.
slow year. And I
Yeah.
just couldn't afford to keep it at that point. Like at that year, also someone had broken into the studio,
Oof.
stole some things. That's something else I learned. Like the type of insurance you need to have for that space is different. As that's something I think all photographers, because somebody recently just posted how their car got broken into and
Mm-hmm.
all their equipment was stolen. So I feel like insurance across the board as a photographer and as a creative business person in general who has expensive equipment, you definitely want renter's insurance when you're traveling with your equipment or have it at your house. But when you're in a space like this, in addition to having insurance to cover people coming in who could physically get hurt, because that's a policy that you need to have, you
Okay.
also need another policy to cover if somebody takes equipment out of that space. That's
Oh my
different from
God.
regular renter's insurance.
Were you there?
No, I was
Oh,
in home
okay.
sleep and I had cameras. So the
Okay.
cameras were going off. But I didn't even know. I have other people who have access to the cameras. They see it. They're blowing me up. If it was like the most surreal,
That's
heartbreaking, like, what do you
scary.
mean someone's,
Yeah.
yeah. And so
Okay.
I had to go up there and like have the locks changed immediately. And then I think even after that moment, you just feel violated when somebody steals from you. So just that
Yeah.
thing of like wanting to rent it out again. Because remember, I'm doing this too for the community.
Right. And
Like,
so it's like I open my doors to all these people, most of which are patronizing, but I imagine, well, not even imagine. I was there for a moment where Black women photographers held that photo session. And I mean, I don't know if the collective paid, but as a student of the day, I didn't have to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? And so you opening your doors for people for $0 to however much, and then to be validated in that way is
mhm,
that's hard to get over.
mhm.
Like that's really, really tough.
And I think even just because you're like, how did you get the equipment and stuff? This is my stuff. This is a lot of stuff. Any people donated to me, that's my family. They would have probably donated to me anyway. Some of these people,
Yeah.
like I don't have to. Well, it goes both ways. Like I don't have to share this stuff because I've been blessed with it. But because I'm blessed with it, I do have to share it because
Yeah.
that's just who I am. It's like I have these resources. I have these things I figured out. I've had all this stuff. I do want to share because that's part of my purpose.
Yeah.
But it's like, dang, I'm sharing it and y'all come and taking. And it's not like it's not really giving. I bust my ass for this.
Yeah,
I do stuff I don't want to do so I can do what I want to do.
exactly.
So
So in
I hope
terms
I
of
answered
like,
the question again. I'm just
no, absolutely. Which, and I didn't know about somebody stealing, so I'm really sorry about
yeah.
that. It's like thinking about how first it was a pandemic, then it was a writer's strike, and then somebody stealing from you. Like that's just like devastation after devastation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what I'm thinking about is how to secure a place like that. So you said you should definitely have renter's insurance just to cover your products, so your
Mm-hmm.
actual gear.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other type of insurance, do you know the name of that? So like people can look into it, like the insurance for the space.
Uh, Dang, I can't think of the specific name, but okay, even for this building though, it's a requirement to have it. So they'll let
Okay.
you know and they'll tell you how large the insurance policy has to be. And it's really easy. I use a company called Hiscox, Hiscox.
Okay.
It's pretty cheap too. So it's not worth not having it
Okay,
at all.
cool. And then you just had your own cameras to cover the space as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, I
So,
install cameras so that I can see what's going. And if people don't always know, it's
right.
obvious. Like if you paying attention, you could see them, but you don't know when I'm looking. They think because I've seen people go in there and just be like, "Are you serious right now? Like, why would you do that? Like, get your dog off my couch. There's no animal. Like this is a set. Like people, I've had somebody throw up in there because they
Oh,
were drunk.
okay, that's another thing. So, how do you manage people? Were you also, so say you rented it out for a set, are you also managing the space while they're there, or are you just kind of like scheduled in other ways in your life and then just checking in maybe on the cameras and stuff?
I'm scheduled in other ways. Sometimes I might have a shoot on location that day.
Right.
So if I'm not in there actually shooting, that doesn't mean I can sit there because I still have to go and do other things. So that's why the cameras are in there so I can kind of monitor what's happening and have like footage if something goes wrong. Sometimes I'll stay in the area. If I don't have anything to do, I might just be downstairs or somewhere nearby. So if I need to pull up, I can get there fast. And then that's where having a team. So I had other people who were willing to help, like, hey, you downtown, can you go close up the studio for me?
Nice.
So,
So, did them people leave to throw up for y'all to find?
they had to, luckily, that particular shoot, somebody was there to close the studio for me. And
Okay.
I'm like, they needed to, and I had cleaning stuff in there too. So
Yeah.
keeping that on deck. So they had to clean it up themselves. But they just treated the space wrong in general. They left the backdrop out, just disrespectful. So that's another thing about renting your space out. You asked about that earlier, the difference of having your own versus renting it out is very different because people do not treat your space and your things the way that you would. So that
Yeah.
was hard because I'm again, I didn't have to share this, okay? So when people treat your stuff, you be like, hold on, like, what do you think
Right.
it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm renting a studio off of Peer Space, I'm like, and it's like one of those studios that has like a rule list posted on every wall and all this other kind of stuff. It rubs me the wrong way. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what can you do? But
Now
I
you
think it
see.
rubs me the wrong way because I treat my rental spaces like I would treat my own, where it's like, I'm going to be respectful of your gear. One, because I don't want to break it. I'm renting the space. I understand that it is not mine. And so I want to treat this space with love and care. But then I have to remember that other people are not doing that. And
Mhm.
it's likely that they had some kind of mishap
Mhm.
in their space where they had to be like, I guess we got to hang up these rules and let people
Mhm.
know we will charge you fees if anything
Yeah.
happens.
And I think because I hadn't done it before, when you go to other spaces, I'm looking at how they do it. Sometimes somebody's there to greet you. Sometimes there's a code you punch in, you go in,
Right.
you lock up yourself. And so just trying different ways of doing things to see what actually worked for me and what made sense. Somebody had left the door wide open.
That's
And
crazy.
left.
Like,
Just left.
that's insane.
I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm looking on the camera like, the door is open. I'm calling them like, hey, are you guys still there? The lights are on. Just left it wide open. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. That just makes me think about Airbnbs and how if this is how studios are being treated, oh my God, I cannot imagine some of these Airbnbs, bro.
Yeah. So going back to your original question too about managing your schedule and your time, you really have to consider that portion of managing people, managing when they don't treat your space right, making time to go up there to clean up after people, clean up after sets, putting your set back how you want it, making sure everything is there, making sure they didn't break it and try to hide that they broke it.
Right.
And then I think too, just early on, somebody had broke one of the couches in there. So I'm like, dang, we just got this couch, got it for a good deal, but now it's broke.
Like, now what do we do?
Yeah, so how can I fix it? And like getting handy and trying to figure things out, it takes a lot. And that was one of the things my dad was like, before I opened it, he was like, make sure you keep shooting. And I'm like, of course, I'm gonna have a space. Of course I'm gonna keep shooting. What do you mean? That's not a question. But when you start managing the space from that perspective of renting out, it does take away from your time as a creative.
Yeah, I feel like you ever struggled with that?
Absolutely. I think it was hard.
Yeah.
I think that first year too, I don't want to say it was hard, like it's impossible by any means, but it became the creative process started to also be about marketing the space, and then also wanting to market me or just be able to do fun creative projects, because now I have the space, but I don't have necessarily the time to really think about it. I don't have the time to really like even execute it because I think I want to shoot this day. And I think that's too just getting better at like planning. But if somebody's willing to rent it, I want to rent it out. I want to get the space to grow in a way where it is different from my work. It's a different business.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a lot of responsibility. And I feel like creatives often come across a roadblock like that at some time or another. And honestly, sometimes over and over again, where we're like, sometimes it's just another job. It's like, oh, well, I have a 9 to 5 and I really want to create more often. And then say you get the opportunity to be like, okay, I'm a full-time creative, but now I'm managing a business because I'm a full-time creative.
Yeah.
And like, how creative am I really being then? It's
and then
and
then you have the content creation marketing piece of like staying in the algorithm and marketing your work in
bruh.
It looks fun and exciting. And
which I be seeing your videos. I love your videos. What's your relationship to content creation? Like, do you hate it? Do you love it? Are you neutral?
All of the above.
Yes. Literally.
I hate the idea of feeling like I have to do it and I have to do it this often. I have to do it this way to be relevant. I hate the idea of copycatting, but I also enjoy some of it because it can be funny and stuff. But as far as creating it, I don't like when it starts to feel like pressure. I like to do it on my own time, but also depending on what part of the business you're in, no, you have to do it. And I think with the studio, I burnt out on content creation from that perspective. And so I haven't been posting over there in that way anymore. I post like on my personal just for myself and for fun. I think it's different when you're doing it for fun and for like business.
Absolutely. I completely relate. Like, I post videos when I want to. I don't want to schedule about it. I only want to do it when I want to do it. And there was definitely an era where I also felt pressured to like sell myself. And that didn't feel very good.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think the content creation, how do I say, the process of it is different from just the general creative process to me, if that makes sense. Because I feel like just when you're really just in your artist bag, it's different when you're not thinking about a camera being on you, but even if the camera is just there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a different vibe, a different rhythm from the algorithm. It's different. And I don't
Yeah.
modeling the creative for that like output level. I don't think that's natural or how it's supposed to be.
I like the way you phrase that, the modeling, the creative, because I think sometimes with what I struggle with, and I'll be talking about this in therapy too, where it's like, it kind of feels like I'm acting instead of
Mhm.
just doing what I would naturally do. And so if we think about it in terms of content creation, some people can't help but to act when they're in front of a camera. And that makes a lot of sense. That's
Mhm.
not a good or a bad thing, I don't think. But if that is the case, then you're not fully being yourself if you're trying to show your creative process. And like, maybe that's okay. Like, everybody don't need to know everything about you, but
Mhm.
are you really in your creative flow is what I'm thinking about. If you're worried about, did you get the shot? Did it look right? Maybe I should take another one from this perspective, like that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then you got to sit and kind of like mull over the edit for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's put some creatives in a really great place. I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of creatives are thriving in it, and other creatives are like, this shit don't feel right. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, it's really tough to find a way where it's authentic for you. Because
yeah,
there's a part of me that loves the theatrics of it because I do have a dance background. I do have a theatrical background.
yeah,
I'm in the mood. I do want to get on there and do a dance and be extra and be like, hey, like that is a part of me. But also when I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it now because I have to in order to make money to pay my bills. To it just takes the breath out of it, the fun out of it.
hmm,
Um, but again, like, do I love it? Yeah, because it has opened up doors for me when I am consistent with it and intentional with it. Opportunities have come from social media that would not have come another way. So it
right,
really is like this fine line of finding it. And it's tough, but it's important to, I think what it is to me, what I find, it's important to participate, build the momentum, reach a goal. But for me as an artist, it's also important for me to take a break from it. And I think
yeah,
people get scared to take a break when it becomes their bread and butter. It hasn't become my full on bread and butter in that way to where I, and I don't want it to, I think, because I want to be able to
yeah,
break when I need to.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And then that just makes me think about some of the creatives that I follow that then have to put out like their PR statement of being like, I'm taking a break. Sorry, But it's like, why should you have to announce that? Like, once that's how you know maybe that it has gone too far, when you feel like
Mm-hmm.
you need to say something instead of
Mm-hmm.
like being in your actual life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And
It's really
I think
interesting.
my next phase, if I could separate content creation from creative, does that make sense? Like from my
Yeah.
photography and like on TikTok, I think because I see you do it too. Like I don't know, I'm not on Instagram as much, but I think on TikTok you are more personable and it's more just Chrissy and not Chrissy's photography work.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think building wealth off of just being yourself, that sounds cool to me. I'm open to that. I'm open to that.
Say, you know, it's like if I could just talk, like, yeah,
Yeah, like I'm not mad at that either. So
or do my little dance, like you said.
yeah, like but that's who but you was gonna do that dance anyway. Like once you saw us.
Exactly. You already know I love that one. So it's like, yeah, like, and then with that, if you just being yourself, then I'm still having fun. Like, it's not feeling
Mhm,
like a job. It's not feeling
mhm.
like I'm reporting to somebody.
Right, right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, to sort of, I want to pivot a little bit more about just your creative self and less about the studio. But
Okay.
I am curious about like, if you would have a studio again and what maybe you might do differently, and if there's like any advice in that other people who want to be studio owners could take from.
Yes, I would definitely do it again because I did really love it. I really did.
And
I
you did well.
thank
That was
you.
a gorgeous space. I love 430.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, I loved it. And I loved as much as we talked about the clients that were a headache, I loved those of you that came through that weren't and that were like great, treated the space great, created were like really beautiful images in there, meeting other photographers and creatives and things like that was fun. So I go back and forth though, if I would do something smaller that's a little bit easier to manage and be a little bit cozier, but still serve the same purpose and being able to be rented out, just to have less that I'm managing in that way. But I also think about it being bigger.
Yes, of course.
Mhm. I think about it being bigger and even more space and even more people coming through and how I can do that too. So I think where I'm at, I'm like kind of sitting with it and praying about it and being open to life happening and where it like makes sense for me and how to do it. And in the being bigger portion, I think like I keep kind of bringing up is having a team and really figuring out other people who have a similar mindset and who could benefit from it. Because I think with having a team, what makes it good is when it's reciprocal. So figuring out like how to invite other people to do it with me and where they're able to receive from it and grow from it too. And I can trust them to like take care. Nobody's going to take care of it how you take care of it because it's your baby, but somebody who does care enough and have a similar mind frame to where, okay, it can grow and everybody can grow in the space together.
Beautiful. Well, I'm excited to see, and I'm super looking forward to the ways in which 430 grows, um, as a smaller version and as a larger version. I think witnessing you, you're the first Black woman photographer that I knew to own their own studio. And so witnessing your space and truly, like, this is not gas, but like really seeing how beautiful it was, I began to think about it. And as I was thinking about starting this podcast, I was like, I mean, I never went to a studio before, but like maybe I could have it and maybe it could have a podcast room. And like you really helped me start formulating these ideas. So I really appreciate it. And I'm so glad that, you could drop some gems on some folks who are thinking about having their own studio too.
Yes, I love that. That makes me happy to hear.
Yeah.
And it's definitely doable and it's necessary. And yeah, I support it. If you ever have questions, you could just call me.
True.
You
Okay,
could.
beautiful.
If you didn't know, you know now. You could always
Right.
text me and you could always ask me questions whenever they come up.
Okay. Maybe in the future I might have some questions for you. But let's talk a little bit more just about Kelli and a little less about 430. We mentioned a little bit earlier you do filmmaking, dance, editing, and just super, super creative. Can you tell us how you started in your creative journey and then maybe how it led to photography?
Okay. Where do I start?
I know, right?
So when I was born, I'm just kidding.
Right, literally.
But kind of, I do feel like I was just born into a creative family to begin with. So, my dad was in the music industry growing up, so I watched him have a creative business himself. So I think that definitely
Nice.
inspired a lot of my journey, and all the way to getting the studio because I grew up in his recording studio.
Oh
So,
my God. Wait. Do you mind dropping his name? Do you know Michaela? Michaela Chandler? She's K Stacks on Instagram.
I know that name. I know K Stacks.
I just interviewed her and she also said her daddy was in the music industry. And so she dropped his name. She's like, you might find like an old mixtape or something on YouTube. Do you feel comfortable dropping your
Yeah, his
daddy's
name is
tapes?
his tapes. I don't know if he has a mixtape, but okay.
Okay.
He's responsible for like writing some like of our favorite 90s R&B songs.
Oh, so
But
right.
you his name is on there. You know how writers ghost writers
Yeah.
essentially. So he like wrote and produced like and like the creative idea behind like a lot of the Waiting to Excel soundtrack. That's my dad.
one of the best soundtracks for a
Yeah.
movie of all time. Oh my God. Wait, what's your daddy name? Shout out to your daddy.
Stan Skates. You
Stan
probably know.
Skates. We love Stan Skates over here.
Yeah, he's dope. I need to get him to do an interview one day just to tell his story
No,
because
for real. Also,
he.
that's so beautiful. That I feel like that movie is a very California movie.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't know if he's from here, but you being from here, I'm like, wow, that feels so impactful.
Yeah, he. So imagine the '90s West Coast just era. My dad had his own studio in that time, so pretty much most '90s artists have been either through his studio or he's in Burbank at all the popular studios working on music and stuff. So that was probably my start in just being a creative and feeling like, okay, I can do whatever.
That's
uh
so beautiful.
yeah. um and so again, I was just in theater, dance, everything since I was little, piano, like anything, always trying different stuff, writing, drawing. And then majored in dance, African American studies. But in that season, I had, always like I'm growing up in that digital media age, like AOL just starting and stuff. So I had a
Yeah.
MacBook and iMovie was on there, and I would just always open it, but didn't know what to do because it wasn't YouTube yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know what to do. I would just open it though, like every so often, just always opening it and not knowing what to do and just clicking to see what could happen, and but not being able to do what I wanted to do yet. So but just always curious in that way. Garage band, making random
Of
songs, like
course.
just
Yes.
curious in the tech world with the creative too. Um, and so I ended up in college doing a thesis where I merged my African American studies major with a dance project and
Okay.
like poetry and recorded and everything. And just always interested in it and always playing, I guess. And where's the question again? I feel like I'm talking all of.
No, it's perfect. It's just about your creative journey.
Okay, yeah. So, um, yeah, so then at that point, I'm just merging digital media, video. I asked for my first video camera when I was like 14. So I think I told you this too. So I had a camera. I was taking it to my dance rehearsals. I'm recording me and my friends in the car, like just vlogging before vlogging was a thing too.
Right.
And then learning how to edit those videos and teaching myself that. And then in college, turning that into a thesis project. And um, that's kind of where it started. And then one day I was in a dance company after I graduated from college. I went to Loyola Marymount in
Hmm.
LA. Once I graduated from there, I was in the dance company and I was recording. And I think at that point I started to realize like what I was doing, everybody didn't know. I took it for granted. I thought like everybody kind of knows how to use cameras. Everybody kind of edits on their free time. No,
That
like,
was a very Aquarius of you. Like,
yeah,
we're
like this.
doing this, right?
So people be like, how did I? Everybody knows how to set up a tripod, right? Like, no. So
Right.
just starting to realize, like, oh, okay, this is something special that I've taken an interest to. And then I shifted and I realized one day I was on stage as a dancer and I'm like, I want to be on the other side. I'm
Mm.
tired of being the subject. Like, I want to see what the lights are doing right now. I want to see what I would say we should be doing. Like, I'm
Oh
just
my
standing here waiting for
God.
instruction. And I was like, I think I'm going to finally do it. So I started doing headshots and stuff for my dancer friends. But video was still always like that main thing that I wanted to do. But
Hmm.
I focused on photos first
Okay.
because I realized I needed to learn the camera and really learn like settings and the details and mechanics of the camera before I could become a filmmaker. And
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so I started focusing on that. And then that's also was a way that I knew I could also generate income, extra income, be quicker than doing a
Yeah.
film because film takes a lot more people, a lot more like writing story and doing all these other things. And I'm like, okay, that's bigger than I realized. So let me focus on this.
Yeah.
And then
That makes a lot of
I
sense.
really did it. I took years and really studied. And by now, YouTube is a thing. So now I'm able to go on YouTube and I'm searching like how to camera settings. At that time, I'm still buying books like Cameras for Dummies. Uh,
Yeah, stuff like that, and really
yeah,
going through manuals and oh my God,
yeah,
what
like
an
really
era.
getting to learn and get off of automatic and really learn the settings and why I'm choosing this and stuff. Then eventually, um, I ended up I started like reaching out to other photographers. So at one point I started assisted this young guy. He was younger than me. I was probably already in my early to mid 20s and he was younger than me, but he shot and he was like this Guatemalan boy that I didn't even know where I found him. Oh, I went to a random like Canon workshop. That's the other thing. I always just go to workshops
Oh,
that I could find. I've always been that person to like try to go meet people and learn in person when I could. So I met him at a random Canon workshop. Then I asked could I assist him because he took really beautiful fashion photos, commercial fashion type photos. And I would assist him. I assisted him for like a year or two consistently. Then eventually, I also mentored with Shemayim. Have you heard of him?
mm, mm-mm. I'll look him up.
He's a Black photographer, New York based. He's amazing fashion work too. So I studied under him for a while. And I just really learned my camera and really like honed in on like my style. And that's how just years of like teaching myself, assisting and like growing my portfolio.
Oh, that's really beautiful. He's still hosting workshops and master classes.
Highly
That's
recommend.
awesome. Do you think you'd ever do that?
I think I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see you hosting a workshop.
You do?
Yeah. That just makes sense. I mean, you have such a rich history of creativity. You having like all these different branches, dance, art with like the journal and the merch that you were talking about, photography and film and editing. Like it's hitting so many touch points. I don't know how you know running a workshop.
I don't know. I guess that's that. I have to decide what workshop do I give? Where do I
Right. Which one do
start?
you
Like,
start with?
what do people? I think I am at that point though, where I'm like, I do feel like I have a wealth of knowledge and I do want to share it, but
Yeah.
my little light went out. Um, how to package it in a way to where, it's a workshop, but okay, I receive it.
Yes, yes. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Okay. Now I want to pivot over to our next segment. The gear don't matter, but and this is where I like to talk about some of our favorite gear. So I'll have two questions for you. Because one thing that photographers can't stand is when people just ask like what kind of camera you're
Mhm.
using because they think the art comes from the camera, when in fact the art comes from the photographer.
Mhm.
But I do want to love on the gear that we use as a tool to create what we are imagining. So the first question is, what's your favorite camera body and lens to use?
I'm a Canon girl. I
Canon,
haven't,
Kelly, me too.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm a Canon girl. I just always been a Canon girl from since I really started. I still have the Mark D4.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I want to upgrade to the mirrorless. I just haven't yet. I've used it before, and it's nice. And I've also recently used the Nikon mirrorless. Their newer one, I think it's like the ZV. I really liked it. I loved it
Yeah.
actually. I wouldn't say like. I don't think one is over the other, but they are different. There's a
Hmm.
different color grade to a Canon versus a Nikon versus a Sony. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a Canon girl.
I was just talking about how I think it's time for me to upgrade to a mirrorless. Just like you, I still use the Mark IV and I love it.
Mhm.
It's a workhorse. Everybody
Mhm.
says it is. It's like it really has held me down for years now. But I'm
Yeah.
like, I need something quieter for a lot
Yeah.
more shoots. And that thing don't even know how to be quiet. It got a quiet setting and
But
it's
it's not
loud as hell.
quiet.
It's not quiet.
It's not quiet at all. I think that's probably the worst thing about it is that.
Yeah,
And it's heavy,
literally.
bulky, and it's
It's
heavy.
so heavy. And I keep my battery grip on it too.
Ooh.
I am lifting weights every time I go to a
Yeah,
shoot. It's crazy.
absolutely.
Okay, so then the second question is, what's a piece of equipment you like to use but you haven't yet? And it doesn't have to be a camera.
That I would like to, that I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about this, and I don't know why I haven't yet. I've never shot with a fisheye.
Oh, I love fish eye work.
Love
Yes.
fisheye work. That's like, I'm like a Hype Williams fan, and I feel like that's one of his signature things. And I'm like, how come I've never at least rented it and shot with it?
Yeah.
So that's one for sure. And I
Yeah.
need to do that. I'm curious what that's gonna look like when I finally. What's yours?
I don't know. I think the first thing I thought of, at least today, is some Leica cameras. I've
Mm.
only ever used one Leica, but I don't even remember the name. But some of them just look so sleek and like it
Mm.
feels like very easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get my hands on one.
Yeah.
I also want to do more like macro photography. I
Mm.
want to get real close to some things and
Yeah, I can
like,
see that.
right? Like I
Yeah,
just feel like it'd be so cool.
yeah, I think so too.
Okay, cool. And here's our last segment called Shoot Your Shot.
Huh?
Now, this is a segment where I would love, because the girls are listening,
Huh?
okay? This podcast is a podcast that everyone in the photography industry knows and loves. So in this opportunity, I would love for you to shoot your shot at either somebody or brand that you just would love to photograph.
Ooh, the list is. I feel like I got a list.
Okay, the list is long.
I mean, there's certain artists that I would just love to have in front of my lens. I mean, I have Tiana Taylor in my catalog, but
Oh,
I want a shoot with her. You know,
okay.
like an actual
I can
shoot.
see it
Yeah,
too.
like,
Yes.
because I just love her, and I think she a lot of like what I like. She encompasses and lives it to like that level, like choreography, singing, act, like
Makes
she
so
just
much
does
sense.
it all. So just to be
Yeah.
able to work with her, I think she's pretty high on my list. Right
That'd
now,
be sickening.
Doechii. Ooh, Doechii.
Doechii is so
Can't do both of
incredible.
them.
Oh
Mhm.
my God. Doechii is so incredible. And she like photographs so
Oh
beautifully.
my gosh,
It really
gorgeous.
feels like she knows like her body and the way to move it.
Mhm.
Ugh, I feel
And
like
the
she would be amazing to
storytelling, the
photograph.
imagery, like that show she did, is it the Colbert Show? She was the creative director and choreographer for that
Ah,
show.
the
Yes,
one with the braids?
yes, she choreographed that. Yeah,
Oh, that is so stunning. Because when I
yeah,
saw the braids, because I mean, now we've seen that like motif a few times where
yeah.
like girls are braided together, but I haven't seen it with three girls braided together.
And
And
then
then with the
moving,
choreography, I was like,
and she rapping.
and you
Yeah.
were like, come
I just
on.
love everything she's doing right now. I think honestly, she's re-inspiring me to like, okay, let's create again, let's think again, let's play
That's
again.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does really feel like somebody that um is doing something she actually wants to do.
Yeah.
Whether that's her performance, her music, like whatever, she looks like not only is she thoroughly enjoying herself, but like it's really her. It don't
Mhm.
look like, oh, I have to put this on
Yeah.
to answer to somebody to make this check or something like that. And that feels so good to witness,
Yeah.
especially as a Black woman.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, beautiful. Okay, so Doechii, Tiana, y'all already know Kelli Scates is here.
Kendrick
Get on
too.
her line.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick,
Yeah.
absolutely. Which would be such a good LA collab too.
Yes.
Come on. Kendrick, get on
LA.
that line. Well, thank you so much, Kelli. I am so grateful that you came and talked to me today. This was really, really cool.
Thank you.
Can you let the people know where it is you would like to be found?
You can find me on Instagram at Kelli Scates Studios. You can find me also on Instagram and TikTok at the Urban Gypsy LA. You can find me on YouTube at Kelli Scates. You can find me pretty much everywhere. I feel like I try to be everywhere in the creative space and testing out what's going on. Um, yeah, my photo work is Kelli Scates Studios and just more like creative products, um, lifestyle things at the Urban Gypsy LA.
Actually, I just remembered you told me about something very special that is coming up and we didn't talk about it. So if it's okay
Oh,
with you,
yeah.
I would like to run it back.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so before we leave, um, I learned that you have this beautiful coffee table book coming out. Please let us know what it is. What's the name? Can we know the name yet? What's going on?
Yeah, so actually it's it's gonna be so okay, you came. So when I closed the studio, I did a closing show, an exhibition of all my work. Where do we go from here? And
Mhm.
so I'm going to be doing a coffee table edition of Where Do We Go From Here, which is basically going to encapsulate my portfolio so far. I'm
Wow.
gonna include some stories and like, for example, like in my travels, some of the photos I took, like just share maybe journal entries or insight or think just different things about my journey along with the photos. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Where do we go from here? Do you know when we'll be able to pre-order yet? Or are you just going straight to orders?
It's probably gonna go straight to order, but I'm gonna
Okay.
try to. The goal is to have it in February, like low key the anniversary of the
Oh.
gallery, and yeah, just to put a pin on that chapter and then see creatively where I'm going next.
Okay, beautiful. I love this for you. I can't wait to have your work in my home in this coffee table book.
Yay!
And we're gonna have to have you on for another episode because now you need to teach us how do we get a coffee table book? How do the
Okay,
girls make a
figure
book?
it out as I go. So once because that's the name of the game for me. So once I figure out, I
True.
will share.
Okay, beautiful. Well, yes, Kelly, thank you again. Um, you can follow us at Photographer Life Check on everything. Thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thank you,
Bye.
Kissy. Bye.